What's up, guys? Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here with another video, and this is pretty much going to be one of my longest reviews yet. And it's going to be a combination of two things: an update for DragonBall Z Kakarot that was like a few weeks ago to a month now, so it's had enough time to iron its kinks out, called DragonBall Card Warriors, and the new DLC to DragonBall Z Kakarot, A New Power Awakens Part 2, which is a insane remix of the Resurrection F movie version. So there's a lot to explain, so I'm gonna start off with a little bit as I can to just get you guys going in. Right now what you're seeing is Dragon Ball Z Card Warriors, which a lot of these new iterations of Dragon Ball games have these mini games that they're updating, like based around Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which was slowly introduced in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 with the Hero Coliseum. Then we have Super Dragon Ball Heroes. And then we have this game, which is very reminiscent to the Dragon Ball Z card game from back in the day and the DBZ card game on the GBA. But this one is also a little bit different. It's unique. It still needs a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie, but the only thing that bothers me about this little update is it came with no microtransactions, but now they're adding these dragon coins for to buy cards. I mean, you can still do challenges, and it's pretty easy to get enough card currency points to unlock cards. So you'll still be able to unlock cards at a fairly decent rate. So it's like, it's an option, but it's not invasive, but I still just can't stand it. But everything else about the card game I am enjoying, and I know it's getting slightly better because it came out very rocky. It was very hard to get into games, connect with people, and they do have to fix how you can do some of the challenges. They do need to add like an offline mode or two just so you can play against bots, like a ladder mode in a card game, and earn credits maybe at a little bit of half the rate, because you earn more credits playing online whether you win or lose. But the cards you do get have classic artwork from back in the day, from the anime, current iterations. I do like the artwork of the cards, and the little animation of opening the card packs is very cool. It reminds you of kind of like the Japanese machines, what do you call it, the gacha machines. So you get the cards, they come out, they look pretty cool. You get different designs. You can get similar iterations of the same character, but some are different. Some have different abilities. There's guard abilities. Each system runs on a point system. The point system for your cards. Each turn you go up a point. If you have regular like booster bonus cards, you can increase your power level to send more cards out, or you can increase the character that's on the field. Characters have defense and attack strength, but you can also directly attack the opponent by bypassing any cards he has on the field. Now, the way that the defender or you yourself can do this is have a character with the ability called guard. Those would basically play as your defense. Now, there are some guard cards that are pretty broken. They do have to do some balancing in this game, but if enough opponents attack your guard character, it could kill you. You could lose. So it's an interesting concept to also summon high-powered characters, but enough of Dragon Ball card game. That's how much I was able to get into it. I'm going to explain it more, but the real meat and bones of this video is A New Power Awakens, new transformations, new training, a horde battle mode, and 3 new sub-stories. Now, is this better than part 1? Yes. Look, you guys have to understand, the games are not canon to the anime or the manga or the films, but they take the ideas presented and tell their own version of the story. Where the first one was kind of like a condensed What If Battle of Gods version, this one is much closer to the Resurrection film, while still taking some liberties. And now, what I mean in liberties is you fight the Ginyu Force, you fight characters that should be dead, but it's almost like this DLC feels like an homage to the first time you fight the Frieza Force in old school Dragon Ball games and you see them for the first time. It's almost worth seeing these characters have these rematches, because not only that, this horde mode is very interesting. Now, how is the length? That's the one thing first we have to establish. It depends on you. This DLC is great for players who are playing Kakarot now and are still leveling up, because here you have to be very on point and very powerful. Luckily, in my downtime, I managed to do all the trainings in the main game. I've completed all the side quests. I basically 100% DBZ Kakarot. I just go around to find the different ingredients for foods to level up my character. But this horde battle mode can come into play with about 100 Frieza forces, or 150, 170. There's even challenges that let you train for this mode. Even bosses integrate into this mode. So it really tests your skill. You really have to be leveled up. You would think fighting regular Frieza Force soldiers would be easy. Nobody. If they get a point on you, you're in trouble. You need to have 3 partners. Now, this is a one key point in the Resurrection F story arc for this game. Not anywhere else, just this game. Where you have to train with Whis first to unlock Super Saiyan God Blue, or Super Saiyan Blue. Why did I say Super Saiyan God? I meant to say Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, but then Super Saiyan Blue is for short. Anyway, Whis, again, with the level cap increased from 250, I believe, to 300, Whis is going to put you through the ringer. Let's just get that out the window right now. Whis fights you at full capacity, uncompared to the first DLC. With the first DLC, you can warm up, and then you got a bit of a tease of Whis' power. And if you don't believe me, go back to my first DBZ Kakarot, A New Power Awakens Part 1 DLC review. If you can go back to that, this will tell you that Whis ain't playing with you. And you know what? Fighting Whis helps you sharpen your skills, because Super Saiyan Blue, let me tell you how they presented Super Saiyan Blue here. It feels different from the rest of the transformations. It gives you a high boost in power. Your surge mode that you unleash when you level up to full capacity, you can do it longer. Your damage increases by damn near half. Your ultimate attacks, your ultra moves, your Z moves, the Z combo moves that you do later on when you have it, are insane. They've introduced so many different combat mechanics, which I hope they integrate into the main mode, to the main game. The main game deserves more expansions, at least, to have the DLCs integrated into it instead of just being separate options you have to go to. But what can you do? The DLCs just came out. Now, at one point, you have to develop 2 teams. There's Gohan and Piccolo. Now, this is where the story deviates. Piccolo was training Gohan. That wasn't happening in the Resurrection arc, in the films or the anime. Now, that makes more sense because you're fighting familiar villains that are actually much stronger this time around. And Gohan is able to put up more of a fight. He doesn't get blasted up like he did before. But it feels cool how they did this. The horde mode feels more or less like a horde mode, but you're in the middle of that cinematic battle. It was really cool to go through. Now, I can tell you one thing. This DLC is going to be good for people who want to speed run it, who are Dragon Ball Z fans. It's almost like a rush mode. If you go through the story, go through dealing with Whis, go through dealing with the Frieza forces, go through dealing with the Ginyu Force, Dodoria, Zarbon, going against those guys, going up to Frieza a couple times, and then fighting him in the final bout. Frieza, on the other hand, in this game, along with his Ginyu Force, give you a pretty good fight. They've significantly fuck it, we're throwing power scales out the window. Since when have the games ever cared about power scaling? You know what? The Z combo system needs to be brought back in the main game. I'm saying that right now. You see that shit? Do you see how cool that is? That wipes out a lot of people. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, they've really beefed up these characters. You have to pay attention to the dialogue that's in the middle of these fights, because it kind of tells you how they're there, but you can miss it. You can miss it while the fight's going on, because you're just going to want to focus on beating down these guys as fast as possible, because if they gang up on you, and you also have to deal with the Frieza Force soldiers surrounding you. So it keeps you on edge, and I like that it makes you test all that you've learned since anyone has started the game. Now, it plays with the battles of the movie very differently. It does start out with the first round, where Goku in base fights Frieza in his first final form, not his golden form. So, that plays pretty close to the film. Now, fighting Frieza in this first bout, you're going to get a tease and a taste of what he does in Golden. He just cranks it up to 11. And with continuous reruns or repeats of the game and doing these bonus challenge mode and the sub-stories, you have to fight Frieza in Beerus at one point at level 300. Now that I couldn't get footage of because I have to get to that point. I'm just covering how this game handles, or this DLC handles, the Resurrection F arc. Now, there's a mechanic or two that's brought into this specific fight with Frieza, which really belongs in the main game. Now, in the main game, you can do button prompts to increase attacks and to do cinematic events, and I discovered by accident very late in the Boo Saga that you can do beam struggles. Now, I like beam struggles, but there's one thing that I also like the most, and that's combat clashes. If everybody remembers combat clashes, which was introduced in the original Budokai and improved through the Tenkaichi series, Raging Blast, and it can somewhat be done automatically in Xenoverse 2. You can't initiate it, where in the older games you can initiate it almost at will if you're skilled enough. But here, in later battles with SS Blue, Frieza tries to hit you in the face or two, you do a button prompt, and then you have to battle him in clashing the button very hard, beating him down, and then you throw him through mountains. There needs to be more cinematic events like that in almost, I would say in almost all the battles. It really changes things. Now, there is going to be one more DLC after this. What it is, we don't know. So for the time being, how does this DLC fare to the Battle of Gods take? It's 50-50. This one is a little longer if you're a newbie. Now, pro players have already boosted themselves to the point where you can beat this. To be honest, you can beat it within an hour. That's playing all the cutscenes, letting it go through. Now, before I get back to the game's length, let me tell you how they do these cutscenes. They actually rev it up, revved up the animation to look much closer to the films and the animes, because there's certain maneuvers and moves that they do that's very similar. Now, this is where the change happens. Where Goku was supposed to then fight Frieza in SS Blue against Golden, Vegeta actually steps in and fights a full-powered Golden Frieza to prove that he can beat him down. Now, this is the game. The game can get away with this, and let me tell you, in the context of the game and how they set this up, the games can get away with altering these kind of modes, as long as they present them well. And this one has far more faithful recreation and cutscenes to the film, with characters you bring in from the, there's certain characters that actually participate in this fight that weren't in the movie, and some that were in the anime, but it's also remixed to feel different on its own. Now, the animation of how Frieza looks in his golden form is pretty damn cool. I always started the joke with my friends that I guess Frieza is a Lakers fan. He must like basketball somewhere. Why does he want to destroy Earth? Earth has that kind of thing. Now, the way they do the animation for transforming into Blue, especially with Vegeta, when you do his Surge mode, let's just say it looks like Blue Evolution. I was playing this, I had to do a lot of training. I'm going to tell you what the time length took me. My characters were not that high leveled. I barely scraped by in the first DLC. Now that I'm in the second one, these suckers gave me a run for my money. They really did. Frieza gave me quite the battle. I had to do the in-between segments, because before you can get to the fighting with Frieza and the Frieza forces, I took Goku and Vegeta, and I did reruns with fighting with Whis, so I can power myself up, and you also unlock the Ultimate Sacred Water, which can give you a boost and level up to get you much closer to your opponent. So I was farming those for about an hour. I was scavenging for the different foods around the world in the base game to create different meals to power myself up so I can be prepared to fight Frieza. So Vegeta is my strongest character because I assumed that it was going to do the movies way, having Goku do the first few rounds and you fight Frieza with Vegeta toward the end. That's why I powered him up. No, they threw me for a loop where I had to fight Frieza with Goku in the final wave, and my Goku honestly is not that powerful. I mean, you can see in the game's footage right now that I've recorded the difference in level because it shows you the level up, but how each of my characters play. Vegeta was always the one that I leveled up because, yes, Vegeta is my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z in any iteration. Hell, I have a team of Vegetas in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. That should tell you something. So I went in wanting to beat Frieza's ass. And beat Frieza's ass I did. But the motherfucker did get some cheat shots, I'll tell you that. What really had me is I really thought that when I went into Surge mode, that I went into Blue Evolution, because in the gameplay, you have the sparkles going off that's making you look that way. So with Vegeta's gameplay and with Vegeta fights in Super Saiyan Blue is completely different than how Goku fights in Super Saiyan Blue. You can really feel the differences, and also how you have set the character up with his abilities in his ability wheel, whatever skills you have equipped, how much food you have given to one particular character over the other. I'll tell you right now, my Vegeta is the strongest character. He is the one that I did 100% of the trainings with, just so I can have the power to beat this fucker. Now, Frieza, on the other hand, when he's in Golden in his Vegeta fight, I'll tell you one now, they needed to balance him a little bit more. Because once you get to a certain part, it's like, it's a normal fight. You feel powered up, you're taking him down. I don't know if this is a difficulty spike or if he's meant to do this, but Homeboy just then throws everything at you. When I tell you Frieza did not fuck around halfway through the Vegeta fight, just to get the footage, I had to fight him 3 times. That fucker went on my case, because I got close to beating him in the first round with no problem, but he did this Super Golden Death Ball out of nowhere and knocked out my Big Bang attack, which I was like, you son of a bitch. His powers are very, very diverse compared to when you fought him in the base game before, which this game does a nice recap of. Now, it doesn't show you all the recreations of the films clips. I kind of wish they did in their own way with the in-game engine and cutscenes of this, but you'll get what you feel out of this. Now, as a standalone DLC though, I can be honest, my gripe is that it's not worth it on its own. It feels worth it since both Awakening Power Part 1 and Awakening Power Part 2, this one, they feel better as a dual pack. I think they should have been presented together as one DLC, and then the second one could cover more of Super, like the tournament arc, the Goku Black arc, and then they're doing this mysterious new arc exclusive to the game as the final DLC. But I hope there's a lot more of free updates in between. I hope they fix a lot more of the DBZ Card Warriors, because that has just as much potential to become as fun as Super Dragon Ball Heroes and the Dragon Coliseum Xenoverse 2. Now, the fights alone, the mechanics in this mode alone need to also be brought in. They need to create new free modes to where there needs to be a boss rush mode. There's kind of a boss rush mode in the base game, but that's when you find the Dragon Balls, complete a certain amount of power enemies that you have to defeat, and then it resurrects the main enemies from the game as more powered up versions. But I want more of a mode akin to Jedi Fallen Order, because this game and Fallen Order remind me of each other in one sense, where in Fallen Order you had to build yourself from the ground up to be a Jedi, basically, or a Jedi Knight. In this game, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, like I've said when I reviewed the game, when I reviewed the Verse DLC, in my first impressions, everything, this game teaches you and almost makes you play at being a Saiyan. You really have to be the character. You have to level up, do all the eating, the fishing, all the mini games. Everything has purpose. Even in this DLC, it has purposes of making you stronger and better. It's almost like a Souls game. This game also gave me Souls game vibes, if you know what I mean, like the boss difficulty, you know, because this is all about studying the pattern of the enemy, taking the enemy down, dodging his attacks. Now, yeah, I fucked up a lot doing that because Frieza, I heavily underestimated him himself. So, the one thing I do like, though, about this is how it is presented, is how it takes this what-if concept of the resurrection arc just for this game to make this game feel unique. That is what I feel about these DLCs coming to this game. They're really expanding upon it. Now, I've seen some people complain about the card game. They've complained about this. I feel that, you know what, for making us wait this long, this DLC feels like the ultimate fan service to the original Frieza arc in a lot of ways. And I think that's what a lot of people are noticing and covering. Now, yeah, I share similar criticisms with other reviewers about this, but this did one thing. It awakened a nostalgia that we have not felt in Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, anything in a long time. We've had the games, we've had this renaissance of Dragon Ball going on. I hope Dragon Ball Super comes back strong, and I hope this game gets more DLCs that could cover Super. I hope the next DLC, even though it's a new what if arc, I hope it includes more Super stuff, because imagine a Dragon Ball Z Kakarot 2, or just call it Dragon Ball Super Kakarot 2. That would be awesome. I really would like to see how they implement every mechanic they've introduced into this game and cover all of the whole Super story. They should do the whole Super story. Now, maybe they could do the Super story up to the Universal Survival arc, the Tournament of Power, basically, and do DLCs for these whole Moral arc, the Broly movie, because you know that they'll do that in that kind of iteration, or keep expanding this game. I heard this game is playable on the PS5. Right now, this is on the PS4, so whenever I do get a hand on the PS5 and talk about it, I might re-review the game on there, because I guess the performance will be better. A lot of the technical issues have not shown like it was, because I admit there's technical issues, but in every Dragon Ball Z, I think that's the charm. The technical issues never really get in the way, like the camera. It's like almost, you play any Dragon Ball Z game, you're going to adapt to the camera being ridiculous. You know, these characters in the manga, in the anime, and in games are meant to be portrayed as, in the shows and the movies, the fights are going on really long, but these fights are happening in just a matter of minutes. The games try to emulate that, and sometimes they may emulate that a little too far. But with everything that's gone on with this game so far, I still feel it's going strong. If you're a newcomer to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, if you've caught it on sale and you're wondering about the DLC, I'd say if the season pass goes on sale, grab it. I think it's on sale for $10 at the current moment. But if you can also get the DLCs for cheaper, then yeah, I'd highly recommend that you get both together. They complement each other. I think that's how they're meant to be portrayed. Because you look on the menu screen, it shows the two arcs side by side, the two awakenings, but then it's almost like there's some wide space in between for the third arc, for this what if arc. But if I was to rate all this together, let's say I gave Kakarot, I think I gave Kakarot an 8. If I gave the DLC, I think I also gave the last DLC a 7 or 6. So if I gave this one compared to the last DLC and how it adds everything up, this one actually becomes an 8 despite some of the criticisms it has, which are understandable. But it's the most fun DLC. It's more fun than the last DLC. I'm telling you, you can get you can treat this as a rush mode, as almost like testing your abilities so you can get better and better. You can actually test out, at least prior to fighting Frieza, you can test out all your God abilities once you unlock them. And then once you beat the main story of this DLC, you can go and do the sub-stories or do the Horde challenge modes, which do become very intense. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to play one. I made it halfway through. I got smoked. They do integrate the boss battles in there, so it makes them very, very challenging and a real test to the most pro player of this game. Anyway, there's not much else I can say. I've said pretty much everything I've wanted to describe about this. All I can say now is how I personally feel about it. Since I've looked at it objectively, I feel that it really does need a lot of work. It does. Kakarot still needs some work, but from the work the developers at CyberConnect 2 seem to do, besides this questionable microtransaction for the card game, I still feel that they could have implemented a currency system better, that you can unlock the cards faster, but the system they have now is simple to get into. That's something they need to fix. If they could at least add more modes to the main Kakarot game, add more to this Frieza mode, fix the card game more, add more cards, expand it more, and I feel even without the third DLC, if you were to get Dragon Ball Z Kakarot on sale with the two expansions, Awakenings 1 and 2, you're in for a great ride. You're in for a good deal. I think it would be worth it at that point, and then I hope the next DLC I hope it'll be good. I hope to see more done with Frieza's arc, because I feel the next thing, it could be they're deceiving us. I don't know if it's a what if arc or if it's truly a surprise super arc. But if they can bring back Frieza and actually make him, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this does happen in the tournament arc, make him of the first villain to be playable. That would be cool. Make him playable, have him on your team, because it would make sense in the confines of Dragon Ball Super. It has happened. We've seen it. Goku and Frieza were the ones that eliminated Jiren from the Tournament of Power. We cannot forget that. Anyway, the Resurrection F arc, it's done very, very weirdly in this game. It's a fun what if. It's a fun remix of the Frieza arc, taking dialogue from the film along with its new dialogue. It does do that well. You do get immersed in it like you're watching a movie, playing the Battle Horde mode, feeling what it's like to fight the Frieza forces, because even though some Dragon Ball Z games like Tenkaichi tries to have you fight multiple people, Raging Blast tries to make you fight multiple people, Xenoverse has you fight multiple combatants at once, but it doesn't feel the same. Kakarot is unique in that sense. And that should be added to the main game, because the main game has more enemy types to go up against and test out your abilities. So, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, A New Power Awakens Part 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have the game, tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the DLC? Did you not? If there's some things you wish they could have changed, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, or if you don't leave me a like, leave me a hypothetical like. I'll take it. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to training to try to fight that level 300 Beerus and that level 300 Frieza. So be sure to catch me on the next stream, actually, for Shadow Warrior 2. That's a little drop right there. Anyway, catch you all next time. Have a good day. Later.